Welcome to the Leslie Hawkins podcast. Each week, my guests and I discuss one pivotal moment in their life, what they learned from it, and their words of wisdom. So imagine you're at the top of your sport, an Olympic athlete, but you're living a lie, denying the mixed emotions inside of you. And then one day, in a moment of clarity, you finally say the words, "I'm gay." Explore the journey of a two-time Olympian wrestling with her identity, confronting anxiety, and battling her mental health. Along the way, leading on a community of strong, compassionate mentors and friends, drawing strength from the deeply moving, heartfelt words of her mother, being the recipient of unwavering support from the likes of Andi Petrillo, Scott Russell, Brian Burke, and so many more. Having found her true self, she has become one of Canada's most awe-inspiring sports leaders and the voice of Olympics in Canada. But more than that, she is one of the most genuine people I know. This is her story. So, welcome once again to the Leslie Hawkins podcast. I am so incredibly happy and honored and proud to have you as a guest here. So with me is Anastasia Bucsis. She is a two-time Olympic speed skater. She has been to multiple World Cups and competed in 6 World Championships. Unfortunately, a knee injury stopped her speed skating career short, but as always, Anastasia has transitioned and moved into sports media. She is now the host of CBC Sports Presents and CBC Olympics and Paralympics. No small feat there. She is a very strong advocate for mental health and LGBTQ plus rights. So Anastasia, you and I actually got to see you for the first time in 2019 at the CP Women's Leadership Summit. And you were on stage with fellow Olympians Karina LeBlanc, Georgia Simmerling, and Natalie Spooner.
Yeah.
Exactly. And there was a quote from you at that point during your panel discussion, which was, "Each and every one of us has a gift, we have to use it," which absolutely resonates today and I think is incredibly appropriate. So after you spoke on the panel, I had the opportunity to meet you, and I have to be honest, I was a bit starstruck.
No, give me a break.
Seriously, you were so genuine, you're self-deprecating, you're funny, but there's no pretense about you, and that's amazing testament to you and your character.
Thanks.
So we fast forward a year.
Yeah.
In 2020, we were together on a panel discussion online, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, but we were talking about women in leadership. And it was us and a couple of other guests. And after we stopped, we just kept talking and talking and talking, being super passionate about the topic of women in leadership and the amount of work we still have to do. And that spurred on a little pet project that we had, which was Women in Sports Social Group. Unfortunately, like, life gets in the way, right? We're incredibly busy. Way too busy.
But Leslie, we gotta, okay, I'm not trying to like pump our own tires, but people still talk about that.
Right.
We just brought a whole bunch of women to like golf, and
Yes.
we literally had like Jana Hefford, one of the greatest hockey players of all time, who's not bad at golf.
Oh, she's very good.
And then folks that had never swung a club, and like people, it just was so real. And I'm so tickled that so many people were like, "Is there going to be another golf tournament?"
Right.
I was like, I don't know if it was a tournament.
Yeah.
I think I played 6 holes, but it was so fun.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And it was a great community of people all together. So it has been, that's sort of, as we've spent the last few years together, that's really sparked our friendship, and I'm really, truly honored that you are here with us today.
Well, I'm honored to be here, and congratulations on the Leslie Hawkins podcast. I'm so genuinely touched to be here. And yeah, I mean, I feel like I was the kid when I met you, and I was like, "Could we go for lunch?" And you were like, "Sure," but you did it, and you have like been such an instrumental person, even from me moving to Toronto, just getting to connect with another woman, another leader, and just a positive person. Like, anyways, I'm so grateful to be here. Thanks for having me, Leslie.
So great, love it.
Yeah.
So this podcast is all anchored on that one question, which is, what is one pivotal moment in your life? And we all have multiple moments in our life where, you know, you need to stop, reset, recharge, and there's all the ups and downs, whether it's professional or personal life. But at the end, I believe that there is always one moment that, as you look back on life, and however short or long life has been, that really truly defines that moment in time. So let me ask you, what is that one pivotal moment in your life?
Yeah, I mean, you're so right. There are multiple. So it's hard to choose just one, but where my brain immediately goes to, and we've chatted about this, I did have the opportunity to compete in 2 Olympic Games, Vancouver and Sochi, and was hoping to compete Pyeongchang, but my left knee was like, no. And between Vancouver and Sochi, I found the confidence to publicly come out. And there was a few steps to that. So I wish I could just give you like the most like packaged, lovely 15-second soundbite. But I came out to myself right before Vancouver in a bathroom stall in Obihiro, Japan. Because I was 20, I was young, I was naive, you know, looking back, I had put so much of my life on hold. I don't resent that at all, but I was so focused on skating. I really neglected parts of my identity and my sexuality and what that meant to be, you know, someone that was a young adult and what that meant for relationships. And I finally kind of, you know, after having qualified Vancouver and believing that this one goal was going to, you know, perhaps cure some of that loneliness that was in my soul, or perhaps give me answers that I was looking for. And when it didn't, I had no one to look at but myself in the mirror. And so that was kind of that moment. I would say that was January. Gosh, the Olympics must have started in early February that year, because they went through Valentine's Day, certainly. So this would have been like January
2010.
January 20th, 2010, maybe.
Okay.
And that was a significant moment, but really it's kind of linked to also coming out to my mom after Vancouver, because I had such a lovely external experience in Vancouver, being a Canadian Olympian, competing at home, like still one of the greatest ever. I've had the privilege of going to a few. Vancouver showed up, like that was good games, but it still just didn't cure like the lack of self-love I had in myself. So it forced my hand. I said, no, I can't keep living this way. I can't keep skating this way. You know, when I had a good result, when I was in the closet, I would feel like I was the queen of the world. Right. When I didn't have a good result and I felt as though, you know, people only saw me for my results on the track, like the depression, the anxiety, just the heaviness of that result would keep me in bed for days. Like, it was really, really tough. And I knew that, you know, the anxiety that I was just feeling off the ice, it had crept onto the ice and it killed my love for the sport. So really, that was a tough answer, really. Like, it's two kind of, I had to come out to myself and I had to come out to the people that I love with, which was the springboard to get me to come out publicly prior to Sochi.
Okay. So what was it like before you came out? What was it like in your home, in your community, the topic of LGBTQ plus rights? Like, what was that like?
Yeah, and it's bizarre, Leslie, because like it's 2025 right now, and you know, I have the privilege of living in downtown Toronto, and there's been a lot of progress in a lot of areas. Yes. But you know, 2012 in Calgary, it was just not spoken about. And I'm a extroverted, friendly person, and I've had the privilege of having quite a few friends throughout my life, and I just, at that point, you know, my friend group was very, very, very heterosexual. And I you know, it was kind of this weird balance, or this weird tug of war going, why do I need a gay friend? Why am I so lonely? Like, I'm not friends with you because of who you're dating. Like, why do I need to connect with fellow queer folks? And it took me a minute to really like get that answer, because again, you kind of try and rationalize, am I really feeling this poorly? Am I really this lonely? You know?
Yes.
And I was, and I needed it. I needed that comfort. And so it was a tough time, because I was so afraid of losing love too, for, you know, can I come out to you? Are you going to be okay with this? Okay, I know you have a very Christian background. I was born very, very Roman Catholic.
Okay.
What does that mean for family members? What does that mean for my 92-year-old grandmother, who's one of my best friends? Like, she was born in 1922.
Yes.
It was tough. Yeah,
absolutely.
There's a lot of question marks.
And yet your family's reaction
was phenomenal.
Right.
But it was the most vulnerable moment of my life, coming out to my mom, for sure. I have a best friend in the entire world, Kaylin Urban, two-time Olympian, one of the fastest speed skaters ever for Canada. And her role in my life has just been instrumental. The first person I came out to, the first person, you know, to make me feel like I was going to be okay.
Yes.
And once I had chatted to them, like, you know, I said, actually, Kaylin had noted, I think we had skated that morning and I was in a mood. She said, well, what's going on here? And she could just tell I was searching about things that I had been brought up with to believe. And, you know, when you're confronted with your own reality and you go, this is what I've been taught, but this is what I know to be true as well. Right. And therein, contrast is tough. And after having come out to Kaylin, after practice, I don't know, the wind must have been blowing the right way. Like, I don't know why it was that day, but as soon as I had talked to her, I went home and I knew that I needed to tell my mom. Yes. I just couldn't look her in the eye if that was our relationship. And this is embarrassing because I'm an only child, so it's going to make me sound like I'm super spoiled, but I was sitting on my twin bed in my childhood bedroom, and my mom had like come in with some laundry, and she was like, I don't know, folding it or something. Yeah. God, again, spoiled only child. I'm sorry.
Look, moms do all those things.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest.
I was very privileged. I love, Anita, you're the best. But she could tell something was up, and she just kind of went like, what is going on? What's like, do we need to chat about something? And as soon as that happened, like, I just silent tears. And to think that I could even say I am gay, I couldn't get the words out. Like, I just started silently sobbing. And I said, you know, Mom, I've only ever tried to be a good person in my life. And she kind of grabbed my hand and she said, I think I know what you're wanting to tell me. And we just sat and cried. And she said, Anastasia, we're here to love, not judge. That was the first thing she said, yeah. And like, I'm like, I want that on her tombstone. I want that on my tombstone. Like, I just did another interview and they said, what do you want your legacy to be? I said, I don't think about it much, but like, choose love.
Yes. Like,
whatever you're at, wherever you're, a doctor, lawyer, bus driver, athlete, whatever, TV personality, like, that's what you got to be rooted in. And that moment very much showed me that I would be okay, that I was enough, regardless of speed skating results, because it's very easy. Athletes, they attach all their self-esteem to their results. And then on top of that, when you feel like you're being dishonest by omitting something about yourself, it was like, all you see is what I do. And so if you had a bad race, you must be a bad person, you know? It's crazy. It's crazy thinking. But it is a part of at least what my process was.
Yeah.
And to have that experience and that conversation with my mom, and to be reminded that they love me no matter what, like, yeah, that changed everything.
And as long as you're okay, that the results are just results.
That's just it.
They're just numbers on a piece of paper.
Yeah. And
that they don't define you, and they're not your title.
And it's so hard to understand that when you're in it, you know?
I could only imagine.
But even for anyone in their job, you think, it's just so easy to get lost in the minutia and think, oh my God, you know, I only came 20th in the world today. Yeah. Like, you know, and now I'm like, really? But you lose the perspective, you know? I wish I knew then what I know now. I wish I could do it again at 36, to be honest. Right. You're so much better of a version of yourself when you're in your 30s than you're in your early 20s.
Yeah. Well, and there's so much in our society that that you are your title, right? So
Yeah.
I am a mom, I am a VP, I am a whatever it may be, and yet it's all just names.
It's all just names, but but labels, yeah, it's so fascinating.
Labels.
We use them, but then we resent them too, because I was so afraid of going, and I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but I admit it because I'm like, no, it's reflective of the struggle of coming out of the closet. I didn't want to be just the gay athlete.
Right.
I didn't want to just be the gay speed skater.
Yes.
I'm like, I got a lot more going for me than just that. And now I'm very proud and very, you know, when I have to come out to people, I'm like, oh, really? Whew, all right, well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But it was terrifying at the time. Yeah, it was really scary.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that we appreciate the labels, we value them, and yet we also dislike them.
Yeah.
I never wanted to be known as the female leader. I'm like, I'm a leader. I happen to be female.
Yeah.
But that one doesn't have to define the other, and yet, you know, that's how you, unfortunately, get labeled.
Yeah.
But
100%.
So interesting. So the reaction of your family was incredible. What about your friends?
Overwhelmingly good. Overwhelmingly good. You know, there are certain people that you realize, oh, well, maybe we didn't keep in contact as much after that. But there is no, at this point, I'm very much at peace. Like,
that's
you know,
so good.
Hey, Sarah, Sarah.
Yes.
But it was fascinating in the sense that one of the things that I experienced, and it's taken me years to be like, how can I be better for my fellow human being? Because I would come out to people and they would be like, I don't care.
Right.
Yeah, which is lovely, but it also was weird because I cared, you know?
Yes.
So it's like that balance, because I'm sure I've done that to other people where I'm like, oh, like you were nervous to tell me this? I love you no matter what. It's no big deal. There's like a release in that, but if it's a big deal to this person, like, with hindsight, I'm like, I should be better with my words just when someone is being really vulnerable with me, because if you disregard it, it's like, oh, is it a big deal? It feels like a big deal to me because it's kind of changed my life overnight.
Right.
But
Right.
Yeah, like, so lots of love, but a lot of also like, who cares?
Yeah. So.
But.
Right.
Like the one thing I would just say is like silence does not equate to acceptance, and that is I think so often overlooked when we're talking about, you know, very nuanced conversations. Like it doesn't just have to be about LGBTQ plus rights, like race, gender, orientation, preference, like everything. I feel as though just holding space is it was a good lesson that it took me years to actually recognize, okay, that could have been a little bit of a nicer transition. And so I try and keep myself pretty accountable now.
Right. Interesting. When you were vocal about Sochi and the Russian, you know, anti-LGBTQ plus legislation and their view on it, what was the reaction of your teammates? And I would like to imagine that they embraced you and protected you, but that might be just my naive hope.
Yeah, no, it was it was a unique time because it was kind of a crossroads. We hadn't had, I mean, sorry for my ignorance, I'm certain there are points in histories that have had very significant, you know, crossover, obviously, with sport and politics, of course. But in my understanding of kind of, the last few game cycles of people being in certain roles, it was a different games, right? We come from Vancouver, we're going to Sochi. And there were discussions. I think a lot of people, again, were like, we support you, but like, why do you need to talk about this? You know, it was like this coming together of like, okay, sports and politics do obviously mix.
Yes.
And finding your voice in that delicate balance was tough. You know, I did have a lot of people tell me like, I wouldn't say anything. And I didn't do anything at the Olympics.
Right.
I was on a media blackout. I think I gave maybe a few interviews. but was very, to be honest, low-key in Sochi, and I had to go kind of going, okay, I've said what I've said, I've shown my name, I've told my face, you know, I've stood up for what I truly believe in, but I also have to honor that I've done this sport since I was 4 years old, and you don't get an opportunity like this, it's never guaranteed. And, you know, I had a really nice conversation with Clara Hughes actually prior to racing, and she was like, honey, you got to remember, this is just one day of your life. Like, it's going to go by so fast. It was almost like the advice you get before your wedding day.
Yes.
When it's like, can you take a moment to like
appreciate.
And she's like, in the race, appreciate that you're healthy. You have a body that loves to do this, that you get to do this at the highest level, that you're playing a sport, you're actually playing a sport and getting paid, and the world is watching right now. Like, zoom out. And she was just such a grounding force. I was so grateful. She was on the media side of things at that point in time for that Olympics, and she was just such a mentor and really a godsend for me. Because it was tough. Like, it was a tough, bumpy lead up to Sochi, and then again, the media was quite overwhelming.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, I was the only one. And that blows my hair back too. I believe Gus Kenworthy came out right after that Olympics, maybe in the spring.
Right.
So he was the other big American name kind of on the tail of Sochi. But leading in,
I find it astounding that I was reading that you were the only out athlete on the whole North American teams in Sochi. I mean,
it was bizarre.
Bizarre.
I remember CNN like calling us, being like, "We'll fly you down to Los Angeles or wherever it was." Like, they want it was wild. I was like, "Oh wow!" I said no to Anderson Cooper. Sorry. Like, my grandma, like, again, Dodo, like, she'd be getting phones from journalists. Like, they would be looking us up in the phone book because I was on a meet. Like, I just told Speed Skating Canada, listen, I'll do a few, but I don't want this to be the only thing I speak about.
Correct.
Again, and I don't know, maybe 2025 and privileged hindsight, like, perhaps I could have done more. I could have certainly have done more, and that's something that I will continue to think about probably for the rest of my life, but I still am very proud of the steps I took.
But the other part is that I think maybe you didn't want that title to be the only thing that defined you. Like, how about, I'm an incredible speed skater, I'm at the Olympics, and that's pretty cool, and let that also be the story as opposed to everything else and all the politics that would come with the media pressure as well.
I was you hit it on the head. I would just back up and say, like, I really, really, really struggled with my mental health when I was in the closet, and even after coming out of the closet. It took me a long time to find a way that I could love myself in a way that would be sustainable. Because it was just a toxic lack of self-love, unfortunately. I just would prioritize absolutely everything over and above my mental health needs and what I needed to be a healthy human. And that 100% crept into unhealthy eating habits, you know, withholding and then binging, unhealthy outlook with what a result actually meant to my personality or excuse me, my identity. And it was a really touch and go for me to make my second Olympics for Sochi, because I went on a little bit of medication. It was a bit of a misdiagnosis. My weight ballooned. Like, it was a bumpy road to Sochi, and I think given that showed me just how fleeting and fragile sport is.
Yes.
You know, one little thing can be off and you don't make the Olympics, or you don't make the national team, you don't make the provincial team, whatever it may be. Like, seeing that firsthand in the lead up to Sochi, it did show me that as much as I didn't want to be just the gay speed skater from Canada, that still mattered. And that mattered more than whatever my result was going to be in Sochi. And given the struggles, unfortunately, I knew that I was not in contention for a placing that I felt I was worthy of. I came 27th in Sochi, and that still stings because I'm like, oh, I was a better speed skater than that. I wasn't a gold medalist. I wasn't a gold...
27th is pretty good.
But it's all, it's all relative.
It's all
relative,
right?
Like,
yes.
if I came 15th, that would mean a hell of a lot more to me. Because I would have been like, that was a good race.
Okay.
But I did everything I could in my power on that day.
Exactly.
And I went to the line already feeling like I had won. Because I'm like, you know what?
Perfect.
Yeah, if this all goes away, like, at least they'll know what I stood for.
Right. So then we fast forward a few years, and we're getting ready for Pyeongchang.
Yeah.
Not sure I pronounced that right.
You did, perfectly.
Okay. And then your left knee says, we're going to take a hard pass now.
Yeah.
What happened?
Let's back up. 2011. I herniated a disc in my back right before our World Championships.
Ooh.
And I think it was psychosomatic. That was right when in 2011, again, I was coming out of the closet, kind of telling athletes, kind of telling teammates, kind of telling coaches. And I truly think like it was just the stress of it all. And given the backs are so unique and so complex, I'm like, I don't know how doctors do it. I don't know how they do it. It kind of eroded my ability to use my right glute. You're getting the full, like you're getting a GP update right here.
Okay, here we go.
And because my right glute does not fire the way the left one does, it eroded some stuff in my left knee, and that's how bodies work. So it was tough. I was on the physio table for quite a while. I took a year off after Sochi for my mental health because I was like, I need to get back to representing myself to the best of my ability, speed skating Canada to the best of my ability. And it just never, unfortunately, got back to health. So I had a few other really fun, lovely years that were good for my soul and for my relationship with skating. Had a great coach, Brock Myron, Mark Wild. But it was done. It was done, and that was a tough one to accept too.
Yeah. So that you speed skated for 24 years, which is incredible. You're a high performance athlete. Then your left knee says, "Peace out." But as always, you're immensely resilient. You transferred that and you transitioned into sport media. How did that happen?
I was so lucky. I was really lucky. I always knew I wanted to be in the media, and if you know me, like, it fits my personality.
It totally
I'm just
fits
like,
your personality.
They're like, let's pay this girl to talk. I wanted to do that since the 7th grade because that's when Katrina Lemaidone won her second gold medal in the 500 meter. And Steve Armitage, the great Steve Armitage, I owe him a phone call. He was the voice of speed skating, and he is regarded as one of the greatest voices in Canadian sport history of all time. Yeah. So that moment in and of itself, I was like, that's maybe something I really actually do like. And it felt like the clarity in even my little grade 7 brain. I was like, So I was lucky in the sense that I always had that kind of North Star. I was a big theater nerd in high school. Like, I liked the arts. So it was fun. It always felt like a little bit of like a reprieve from kind of the analytical nature of long track speed skating. And I emailed like the head of the Olympics. And I was like, you don't know me, but I'm a 2-time Olympian. I live in Calgary, and like I have a communications degree from Calgary. I really want to do this job. Can you hire me? And thank God they were just like, oh, hi.
Of course.
Surprisingly enough, we have an opportunity in Calgary, and we could really use an extra set of hands. So we'll just hire you for a week, and we'll see like where this goes.
Okay.
So I had the privilege of genuinely just like being born and raised Calgary, training in Calgary. I knew everyone on that Olympic team. Like Leslie, it was like shooting fish in a barrel. Like I was like, oh no. I'm like, this is I had too much of a head start. Like it was so fun because I truly knew every single person.
Right.
And so it was a good first impression. I think they brought me back because they were like, okay, that worked. Maybe can you work the Calgary Stampede? So I was driving the car. I was driving the Dodge Caravan, driving Mark Lee in a cowboy hat. My God, I just was like, I cannot believe I'm working for the CBC.
Right.
And it just kind of started snowballing from there. And I was really lucky. I got to kind of manage our athlete relationships in the lead up to Pyeongchang. So if a certain show needed Brady Lehman, okay, well I get him here, XYZ, 1, 2, 3, all of those logistics of how television and radio and everything works. That was my job. But poor Christina Groves, who's one of the best speed skaters ever from Canada, dear teammate, friend. She was doing the speed skating call for Pyeongchang, and she got laryngitis. And that was my big break. Right. I had to call 2 races. Ted Jan Blumen won a silver and a gold in the races that I had the privilege of calling. And I believe, did I do the 10K? Excuse me, maybe I just misstepped. Maybe I misspoke. It might be the 1500 meter for women. Regardless, I got the biggest break on the biggest stage. And the rest was history, really.
It's been amazing.
It has been, yeah. I'm very lucky.
I mean, the fact that, you know exactly what the athletes are going through in the preparation for the race, through the race, after the race. I think that brings a different level of perspective to the whole media and the sports media and being an analyst and a play-by-play. It's amazing.
Thanks.
But now you've stepped into some really big shoes. So now you're hosting CBC Sports Presents and also the CBC for the Olympics and the Paralympics. And I've only been in Canada for 30, 40 years, whatever it is now. And I grew up with the voice of Brian Williams, and he was the voice in your head. And the moment you heard the sound of his voice, you're like, oh, here we go. And that there's a national unity around that voice, and that is now your voice, and you are the host, and you are unifying the country. And that's, first of all, I'm totally fangirling here because I think that's incredible. But what's that like?
Oh my God. Well, I got it first and foremost. Yes, thank you. Because that was like, now my heart rate's racing.
No pressure.
Yeah, I just have to first and foremost say, like, Scott Russell and Andi Petrillo have been just tremendous friends and mentors and colleagues. I've learned so much from them. And Scott Russell, honestly, I don't know anyone that's ever loved the Olympics like that man. He really, I'm just so lucky. Truly, if I could summarize my life, I'm so grateful for the people that I've had the privilege of growing up alongside. I've learned so much from them. Honestly, I don't think about it too often, because if I do, then it's a bit much. It's to be like, I am the voice of Canada now. Like, I'm not. But if I can help make sports a little more human to folks, then my God, what a privilege. And I'm so grateful for your words when you're like, well, you understand what the athletes are going through with the prep and whatnot. I never won an Olympic medal. So there's aspects of Summer McIntosh's life that I don't understand, because I would never even compare anything that I got to do as a skater to what she's achieving in the swimming pool at all. But I think bringing it back to that moment with Sochi, like the media was so overwhelming that if I can even bring a little compassion and empathy in that space, I'm very, very grateful, and I'm proud of that. Like, because I've been there where I'm going, I have sat down with journalists and I've gone, I know you don't care about this. Like, I know you don't care about me or my life, and this is just like a story for you, and you're just checking a box because you got a deadline tonight. And unfortunately, sometimes that does happen, but I certainly conduct myself where I'm like, if I'm going to speak to someone and I'm going to ask you real human questions, and like, I don't get all that inspired by the X's and O's of the scoreboard. Like, I want to know who you are. I'm a fan of people who play sports, not just sports.
Right.
And that's kind of been my guiding light. Like, I don't want to be an overwhelming media member. And I want to try and humanize the Olympics just that ever so slightly more, because that's what gets us out of off the couch, and that's what got me. I became a speed skater, but I'm like, I remember watching Oksana Bayul win gold in '94. Right. That's what inspired my Olympic dreams. Really, it may have crystallized with Katrina, but it was Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding.
Right?
Like, come on.
Exactly. Well, there's always somebody, right? There's always somebody that you look up to as a child, of thinking, maybe I could do that. And through sport, through Olympics, there's incredible women that you can look up to, and men as well. There's real allies also. As part of the work that you have been doing, is working to end homophobia in sport. And you are part of an organization that is really more focused in the US, which was Athlete Ally. But there is an organization that's, I believe, more global, or is it just Canadian, which is You Can Play.
Yeah.
So talk to us about You Can Play.
Of course, yeah. I've connected with a number of organizations. But You Can Play has just been super close to my heart because Brian Burke has played a huge role in my life too. You know, I connected with him before Sochi. He, at that point in time, was the GM of the Calgary Flames. He had a son, Brendan, who came out, very tragically passed away, and that was the birth of You Can Play. You know, if you can play, you can play. Right. And I've always gravitated towards, you know, hopefully lending my name and my voice to better certain conversations and situations. But Brian has always just genuinely been such a true, like a silent pillar in so much of my life. Like, we don't talk all that time, and I'll get the odd like, "Kid, you okay?" like every 6 months, you know.
That's a pretty cool text.
Yeah. But he truly, like, I remember when I got the job offer, the full-time job offer with CBC, I was still in Calgary, and I just bought a condo, so I was like super house broke. And I'm like, what do I do? Like, this is my dream job, but I have zero money. I just retired. I'm feeling super ungrounded. And he was like, "Kid, you are overthinking this." Like, he's like, "You got to take the opportunity. You're going to live in my basement for the first few months." He's like, "I won't charge you rent. Like, I'll help you find, like, we'll help you find a place." Yeah. Like, and I'm just like, I would not be here. We would have never met without people like that, just taking a chance. So, that's a little anecdote about the generosity of Mr. Brian Burke. But You Can Play has just always been such steady Eddie. They show up. I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate that they do work in the majors too. Right. You know, we have lots of work to be done. The Big Four, I don't think there's any openly gay active athlete, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not good at math, but that does not make sense. No. And regardless, like, you know, you don't think players have sisters and parents and family members and friends that are queer. Like, it's kind of silly that we still have numbers like that, but I'm so excited for when we don't. And when the first boy comes out in the NHL, that will be on the front page of every single newspaper. And that's when people go, "Why do you have to keep talking about this?" I'm like, because it's an issue until it's a non-issue. Exactly. And sport is a mirror to society, and it's also a magnifying glass. And what we're now seeing with the persecution of trans athletes, like, you don't think this is all connected? Absolutely. And we all have a role to play. Right. I 100% agree. So, couple more questions for you. As you look back at the journey that you have been on for the last 36 years, what have you learned about yourself, about mental health, and about sport? And I would say there's probably in your world a union of all three. First and foremost, I would say the greatest lesson I have learned, and I have to continuously relearn this, is that I am enough. And that's a tough one, I think, for everyone. And I think I'm assuming, but I think it's a little tougher for women. That you truly are enough. Yes. You know, I'm like, even with you starting this podcast, I'm sure you're like, should I do it? Oh yeah. There's imposter syndrome. Yeah. There's questions every day of what if. Yeah. What if? And I got to remind myself, you are enough. And you are enough as yourself. Like, you know, the little red light goes on, and it's easy to go, oh, should I tap dance now? Should I try a magic trick? Like, I can't just be myself and speak, right? Like, that's going to be boring. Yeah, so it's reminding yourself you are enough. Yes. I also have the privilege, though, of, I think, some of my struggles with mental health early on in my career, you know, 19, 20, 21, all the way up until about 25, I would say. I unfortunately lived with pretty significant depression and anxiety. Chasing a check doesn't make you happy. I am lucky that I learned that one real quick. Like, don't get me wrong, I like nice things. I don't mind making money. I'm not Mother Teresa, but it fundamentally does not make you
Yes.
happy. And so I think that has been another gift and another layer where I'm like, if this doesn't feel right, first and foremost, that's like 3 strikes, you're out. I'm not doing something that does not feel genuinely right. Because I did that for a long time, and I almost took my life, you know? Like, I cannot feel like I'm in any closet anymore. But yeah, it also doesn't matter if there's a beautiful price tag attached to it. Like, that's not going to make me, no.
Right.
External things don't make you happy.
Right.
Happiness is an internal job.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to put that on a t-shirt. Seriously.
I've been making t-shirts.
Have you?
Yeah, with all my free time. Diana and I are like making t-shirts now. We're like, should we start an Etsy store? Like, oh my gosh.
Yes, you should. Yes, please.
No, we don't have any time, Leslie. My wife is like also making a soccer league, so that has been a really lovely.
She's got a little bit of a pet project that's kind of blowing up, that's a whole other podcast to talk about, because that's incredible.
We'll have to get her on.
Yes, absolutely. Please go to YouTube and check out Anastasia Bucsis, because you've got some incredible YouTube videos. There's one of you skiing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's you doing the pizza. I was like, oh, she is totally my person.
But this is the thing. This was in Switzerland. We were
incredible.
I was there for the freestyle skiing and snowboarding world championships in St. Moritz. Not a hardship, let me tell you.
That's pretty
Switzerland,
sweet.
I'm like, oh.
Yes.
But we didn't know. I feel so silly saying this. We didn't know we needed skis. Like, we thought like the mix zones were, I don't know, just ignorance, I suppose. So we got there and we're like, oh no, we need skis. I can't be hiking up for 90 minutes. Like, ooh. But it was hard. It was like 5 p.m. and icy and a red. In Europe, they call them reds. It's between blue and black. And I had skied for 10 years.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, you can watch me ski. It won't be very inspiring.
Oh no, it's actually quite hilarious, because I'm doing the pizza. It's like, yes, that's me. That's awesome. All right, last question. What would be your words of wisdom for the audience here?
We're here to love, not judge.
And with that, very, very well said. It is an absolute honor to have you here, and I so appreciate your time. I know you are crazy busy, and for you to take this time with me and with us is an absolute honor. So I truly treasure you, and I thank you for being here.
Thank you. I treasure you, and I am so proud that you're doing this. I can't wait to watch and listen and follow along. Leslie Hawkins Podcast.
Thank you.
That'll cost you $15 more.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining me today. I hope this story resonated and gave you something to reflect on. If it did, please share it with someone you care about, and be sure to subscribe so you can continue to hear more pivotal stories involving one question, one turning point, one powerful story. Join me next week with another guest on the Leslie Hawkins Podcast.